transport mechanism. There are two types of active transport, the passive and the active. Passive requires no added energy, and active does require added energy. Active transport also moves from an area of low concentration to an area of high concentration or up to the concentration gradient. This is the opposite of passive transport, and because it's more difficult, it needs the energy molecule called the ATP, which stands for adenosine triphosphate, because there's adenosine molecule and 3 phosphate molecules. There are 3 types of active transport: the membrane pumps, endocytosis, and exocytosis. Look at the membrane pumps first. Membrane pumps are just carrier proteins that move substances from an area of low concentration to an area of high concentration. Look at the sodium-potassium pump to see how it works. Outside a cell, there is a high concentration of sodium ion or Na+. The brackets represent the word concentration. Inside a cell, there is a high concentration of potassium ion or K+. The cell had the ion channels that will allow these ions to diffuse and reach equilibrium. It wants to keep a difference in concentration, so the sodium-potassium pump more sodium out and more potassium in all the time. Let's see how it works. First, 3 sodium ions from the cytosol bind into the protein, and a phosphate group from ATP breaks off the carrier protein. This provides energy for the shape of the protein to change, and the sodium ions can be released into the outside part of the cell. Now, 2 potassium ions will enter the pump, which causes the phosphate to break off and return the pump to its original shape, and release potassium into the cytosol. Again, sodium will diffuse in the cell onto its own, and potassium will diffuse out. The pump forces the sodium to be outside the cell, and the potassium to be inside the cell. Another way to do active transport is through vesicle movement, either endocytosis or the exocytosis. Endocytosis brings items into the cell, and exocytosis pushes them out the cell. Endocytosis is a process by which cells ingest external fluid, macromolecules, or other large particles. We can be more specific on what materials undergo in endocytosis. Phagocytosis is where the large particles or whole cells are ingested, and phagocytosis is when solutes or fluids are ingested. You can think of phagocytosis as cell eating and phagocytosis as cell drinking. Exocytosis is basically the opposite of the endocytosis. It's a process by which a substance is released from a cell through a vesicle that transports it to the cell surface. A vesicle can merge with the cell membrane because they are both made of phospholipids. The layers press into each other, and phospholipids rearrange them a little so they can open up their contents to the outside of the cell. Again, this requires energy, so it's classified as one of the types of active transport.